All right, guys, we're here live. We're here, a couple fellas and
We'll do it live.
a beard and a half doing it live, talking about real estate in the spring market. Why don't you guys kick us off here and tell me what you're seeing, where you're at? First of all, where are you at?
I'm located in
Chris Schall.
Madden's. Oh, rude. Go ahead, Chris Schall.
I'm in Kingston, PA.
Oh, beautiful there this time of year.
It is.
That's a great painting behind you.
I know.
Brings out the blue in your eyes. You're beautiful. I love you.
It's like I'm on the beach here.
What
The beach.
what part of the beach?
I'm gonna say that's like down in South Carolina.
That's not a beach. That's a lake, you goon.
No.
Get your waterfront property straight or take a hike. You can go back to West Virginia, boy. All right, Chris Schall, what's up? Talk to us.
No, man, back from vacay. So pumped to get back here, but yeah, spring market's rocking and rolling. I don't know. Do you think it's better than last year? Or I feel like inventory is just there's inventory, but there's nothing move-in ready. You know what I mean? I think last year it was like more move-in ready houses popping up, but
Word.
you're not seeing that, and there's just tons of buyers waiting and waiting.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing in my area too. There's almost no inventory.
Where's your area, Chris?
Mountaintop, Pennsylvania. We are down to
Ooh.
35 homes for sale in the entire town, which is extremely low. Historically, by at least 100 homes. There's tons of buyers out there, and they're just not buying anything. The only things left are needs to be fixed up or severely overpriced. So we have buyers walking around just waiting for the spring market, and these people that are waiting for their yards to become green to put their house on.
I have a question. Should I raise my hand?
Yeah.
So
Wait, hold on.
no.
Nobody called on you.
Oh, that's why I was a bad student.
Yeah.
I was sitting there.
Go ahead, Mr. Medico.
Oh, it's Medico. Check yourself, Nespoli.
Sorry.
He sounds like a bad pizza. I'll take a Nespoli for the road. So what I've seen and I'm using air quotes, spring market, is that where we're at in northeastern Pennsylvania and central Pennsylvania, that there's not necessarily the spring market rush like we would see in other like larger areas, metropolitan areas, if you will. So I kind of look at it as like things have been steady, but things have been steady in terms of it's been the same thing for like 6 months, where there is like a true lack of inventory, move-in ready inventory across the board. And I don't subscribe to like, hey, let's wait until May 1st to put your house on the market, because there's a whole bunch of homes that'll sell in May. It's like nonsense, right? Then you have a whole bunch of competition there. If you're considering selling in this particular market, there's no reason to wait. Like get it out there. And I would say we're seeing a huge uptick in the past 2 to 3 weeks across the board. So it's like, it's not technically spring nor the spring market, but it really is. Like things are moving fast. We just had a property the other day, had multiple offers on it. And, my suggestion to anybody would be if you're sitting there waiting for something, you're waiting for nothing, Get it out there.
Agreed.
Well, when do you consider the spring market? Like if you had to put a date on it?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because technically the spring market historically was decided in volume, like the uptick that the warm weather had. However, now that it's March 1st and it's already warm. But what I'm hearing is that most agents, maybe not on this call, but some of the more seasoned agents are keeping that historical late April, early May is when you want to list your home. And that's preventing an even more robust spring market from occurring.
Yeah, it's weird, man. You see like, it's kind of like things might've been one way 20 years ago. And they're like, yeah, spring market's late April, early May. Look, let's wait until then. And, you know, I'll be very honest. And I've seen it where there is many realtors that kind of will say take off or disappear from Christmas until Easter. And maybe some of them don't want to work during that time. And that's why they're
I
suggesting
don't
that, but
understand how you could possibly do that because
right.
I know realtors do it. I know. I've worked in the office where I've seen realtors do it, but it's like, dude, the work you put in now,
Correct.
your paycheck in freaking April, May. Like if I take a month off, I'm gonna have
Crazy.
where I don't
Pushing
have
everything
any.
back.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone
Yeah,
else
you're
do
not-
that? Or like,
You have to have a constant funnel of traffic coming through because everything you're putting under contract right now, you're not getting paid on for another 30 to 60 days. And
Or
if you
the-
don't keep that funnel going, you're screwed.
or the lead you're following up with now might be your lead in July that closes.
Right.
Taking a whole quarter off. I mean, that would put me behind half a year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even more so though, like pull our interests out of it, pull the realtor's interest of like, obviously, you know, our job is continually helping people, keeping our funnels full year round, doing stuff like that. But pulling that completely off the table, dude, it's in the client's best interest to get things moving, you know, not
Absolutely.
waiting for the spring market. So I find it very, I don't know, lack of words are coming to me, but like almost kind of disturbing or sad that it's recommended to people to be like, hey, just wait until the spring market. I'm like, that does nothing.
That's a disservice right now.
Absolutely.
That's the word. That's the
Well
word.
put.
The Fed just dropped another half point today.
Yep.
We're at historically low rates. and
Oh
historically
man, I
low
heard
inventory.
I heard Fed rates don't have anything to do with mortgage rates. Discuss.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
They do.
They do. And we're historically low with inventory and rates. So if you have a home that you're thinking about selling, there's not a better time than right now.
So then the question is why are so many sellers waiting? Because that's what I'm seeing. I could name 10, 15 people right now that are going to list their house, and they're going to wait 60 more days till their competition lists for them to list their homes.
It's
And I can't.
historical. They're going off historical beliefs and
Outdated.
what's now outdated information.
Well, let's be honest. Is it easier? Let me throw this at you and be honest. Is it easier to sell a home in April or in January?
In when?
Right.
Would you
No
rather?
difference.
Do you don't think there's any difference in uptick in buyers?
No, well, because it's another thing that's fed to buyers too.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a mindset thing. Like, oh, we're going to wait until the spring. And like, all right, you're going to wait until the spring. All the homes are going to wait until the spring. And then what do you have? You have
All
extreme
offers.
competition that pushes the price of homes even higher. And you probably, could have got a better deal, less competition on both sides. So it's like, it's just kind of like a disservice mindset on both sides. One thing I want to circle back to, Chris said he had 10 to 15 names that he knows. I think he should share that with everybody right now.
Yeah.
Right. And
Phone
anybody,
Well, luckily,
emails, addresses, phone numbers. I mean, you're doing a disservice to everybody on this call and anybody that really has absolutely nothing to do later today and watches this.
well, maybe you could help by encouraging people to list their homes. And as to go on what Mr. Schall was saying, is that there are buyers out there right now, and if I could get people to list, I would sell below the industry average for days on the market right now.
Oh yeah.
I
no
would.
doubt.
The buyers are there right now because the interest rates are low and they want to act. There's nothing for them to act upon. So if the sellers would list now, the spring market would start now. Instead, they would
Look at our special guest out of nowhere, Justin
Jesus.
Weber. Justin Weber. It's Justin
All right, turn
Weber
it
who
off.
comes out of nowhere. Now, whose door's open?
Oh, is the latch broken? Can you annotate that on the home inspection report?
Unplanned. Would you look at that? Magic. A home inspector just shows up out of nowhere. Ridiculous.
Wait. That looked like he was in the same room as you and Chris.
It is. Apparently,
He
my office
is?
is a hubbub of activity, which is funny because that's the only activity happening in Mountaintop right now because agents are telling their clients to wait till May to list.
We're doing a Zoom call.
What about this?
We're
Chris?
gonna
What if
post it
it's
later.
such a great place to live? No one wants to leave. We're saying, oh, they're waiting. What if there's just a downtick of people that don't want to sell in Mountaintop?
Ooh.
Well, that's not the case. There's a bunch of people in Mountaintop who want to maximize their sale, and that's why they're waiting till the spring because that's what their agents are misguidingly advising them of.
What? Here's a question for you. What do you think this current decline of the stock market, what kind of impact is that going to have on the housing market, if any?
None.
I think
Not much.
certain sectors
None.
it will. Secondary homes, you'll definitely see less.
Oh, secondary homes, schmecondary homes. I don't believe that at all. You know,
You don't think if your stock portfolio is up 30%, you're more likely to buy a second home than if it was down 30%?
I would maybe I would choose to look at it this way. Hey, look at that. Stocks. What are stocks? It's legalized gambling, and there's nothing wrong with that because many people do a very, very good job in the stock market. Not knocking that at all, but maybe somebody would look at that as like, holy shit, I just lost 30% of my portfolio in 3 days and I have absolutely no control over it. Maybe I should take that money out and put it into actual tangible things like, I don't know, real estate, like a secondary home or rental properties.
The market's down 10%. What's your home at this week?
Oh, shit, son. How you like that, Chris Schall? Where you at?
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Chris?
what buyers are acting like. I'm not saying you're the way you guys.
I think it
Your
depends
face
on
is slightly redder than it was a second ago.
I think it depends on who the buyer is too. Is it a first time buyer who's
No, secondary home.
That's you know him. Come on.
or are we looking at
Meeting of the minds.
get Weber
No,
out
we're
of
looking
the
at-
shot.
No, he wants to be in here. It's
secondary
it's
homes. They already
divine
bought a
intervention
house.
that he's here.
Correct. And normally I would agree with you, Mr. Schall, except the specific decline in this market due to the coronavirus, I don't think is an indication.
I can't hear you. I got headphones though.
The overall health of the market, but I do see if this continues, it is an election year, so the market will be very reactionary at best. That could affect the secondary buyers. I do agree with you there.
Medico.
Maybe not enough to impact, our overall job immensely, but a small portion might see a decline.
Yeah.
I believe Mr. Medico has his hand up.
Yeah.
Is that I can talk?
Yeah, you can talk.
Oh, this is directed at Chris Madden. What is, you said election year, what is that? What is an election?
Believe it or not, the President of the United States will get elected later on this year. And normally in an election year, you see some volatility in the market.
Okay, I'm just gonna sit with that for a little bit and be quiet.
Look, I think this election year is just not even going to really be like any other because usually they don't touch rates at all and they already lowered them 100%. So.
Well, I mean, most certainly, whether it's this year or not, this historic run we're on is going to come to an end.
It has to.
Now, 6 months, 16 months, it's coming to an end. And so it might be germane to the conversation to talk about when that comes, what will happen to the real estate market.
We've been on
But in the meantime, I think 2020 is still going to be a banner year for real estate.
Yeah.
banner year. I like that term.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we've been on a 12-year-ish now. I mean, yeah, it bottomed out in 08 and then it was like nonsense for several years, but like, everything, we see the 10-year cycles and we're basically right there again. So things have to, prices have to correct, even in our area, like where we're, outside the metro. How do you say that word, Justin?
Metropolitan.
Say it for the crowd. Metropolitan, even though we're outside of the metropolitan areas, like things they have to correct themselves. They have to level off. So I agree with Chris Madden. 1 point for Chris Madden, 3 points for Luke Medico, 1 point for Chris Schall, and pizza guy. I don't know what you've contributed so far.
I've contributed nothing. I can't stop looking at the green and how it brings out the gray in the beard.
I see what you did there.
See how that happens?
Yeah, well, you know what? I keeps it real.
I'm in agreement here. I have nothing more to say. I think we've done a great job.
Yeah, I'm complete.
Yeah.
I'm complete with this. Justin's leaving. You want to say goodbye? Come on in. Say goodbye to the internet people.
Peace out, internet people.
He said bye.
Have fun.
I'm not leaving though. I'm staying right here. We got anything else we want to talk about, flirt about? Anything?
I want to know why Marc Nespoli is looking into Airbnbs.
Why am I looking into Airbnbs? Because
Say it, baby.
I'm looking at trends across many industries, and I'm looking at one specific thing. It's direct-to-consumer products and how they've taken off in recent years. You've got Amazon and Netflix and Uber, and of course Airbnb. It just makes life easier. And there's certain segments in the Airbnb market that you can get into that are low risk if you do your due diligence, and you can get into a more urban type area on a lease to sublease type of deal where you're not out of pocket many thousands of dollars. Maybe you dive into a Nashville market where you're leasing an apartment with permission to sublease it out on Airbnb. So all in, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 out of pocket instead of buying a investment property at $300,000 and carrying that.
Airbnb arbitrage. Very interesting. I'm glad you're getting into that.
Is it short-term like vacation rentals that you're trying to do, or you're saying like longer-term Airbnb? Like, what's the clientele you're trying to target? Like vacation rentals?
It depends on where I'm looking. So there are some demographics. So Davenport, Florida is one city I'm looking into, which is about 15 minutes outside of Orlando. It's a cheaper way to vacation in Disney. And actually, that's a market you can get into a resort type of condo for about $120,000 and do a short.
Do me a favor and double it.
And what?
Nothing. I just wanted to watch your face.
So there's it depends on the market to answer your question. If I'm looking in the Poconos and I want a lakefront, that's probably a market that you're looking more vacation rentals. I don't know, it's more seasonal. I haven't really looked that closely at the Lake Harmony areas or the Poconos, but Mr. Medico could probably give some insight on that.
Yeah, no, I mean we're like full every weekend, and there's no, what I've found in terms of like the lakefront properties in this area, there's really no seasonality, right? You have a reason to be here year round, right? It's winter, you're on a lake, you're 15, 20 minutes away from skiing, awesome situation. It's springtime, you can gather with your friends and family out. Oh man. We're gonna hang up on that person.
Wow.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry. We're in a, yeah. I blew it. But then you roll through the summer. It's like, hey, summer on a lake. Obviously, no explanation needed there. And then the fall, it's like, beautiful fall foliage or foliage, depending upon what part of the goddamn country you're from. So yeah, it works, And if you could find the right place too, in terms of like you're renting it out from, like you're doing a year-long lease, and then that homeowner allows you to do what you want from there in terms of subleasing it. Like your risk is super low, and if you play it right, you can create some serious cash flow for yourself.
Yeah. So cash flow is obviously a huge benefit of lease to sublease. The downside to that is your tax basis. So trying to find the right markets to buy in versus lease in is what I'm really looking at right now to kind of offset some of that and grab that some appreciation. And given this strategy, it would probably be some type of accelerated depreciation schedule just to help with the cash flow.
Have you jumped on AirDNA to get some data on some of these demographics you're looking at?
Yeah, I have. That's actually where I found out about Davenport, and I don't have the data in front of me, but the occupancy rates were pretty high year round. The income wasn't astronomical on them, but again, it's such an affordable market, and it's highly trafficked. It's developing, so it was intriguing to me. Asheville, North Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee, St. Louis, looking into, because they didn't go through what Detroit did a couple of years ago, but I think it was pretty close. And there's some properties there in decent neighborhoods that you can get for under $80,000. So it's another market that people are traveling to, where there's affordable housing to actually buy. Where are you looking right now?
I'm looking into the Whitehaven area of the Poconos, specifically because they got approved for some infrastructure improvements.
Don't tell them. Keep those secrets under your lap, boy.
Luke Medico, sharing is caring.
You're right.
And they're going to be doing some interesting things there, and I think that that town has potential. It also has a low barrier to entry as far as some of the prices, but it has some tremendous upside because of the growth it could see in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's got good, quote unquote, exit strategies, right? If things don't pan out as well, you know, especially if you're in the, you know, the borough, Denison Township, you're in Crestwood School District, which is, you know, that's considered highly desirable in the area, which is a win. If you had to take these properties and rent them out on a yearly basis, you know, you're covered that way. And yeah, Whitehaven does have, like, it's got amazing geography. Like, that place is primed for it. I think we've all been hoping it would take off for a decade now, and I think we're slowly getting there. There's been rumors, Mark, that we heard that you're secretly, that you want to share with the group, but that you've identified a place in Pennsylvania that has great upside for an Airbnb rental in Shamokin. Is that true?
It has a terrific ambiance to the area that, you know, the great meat. So there's that.
Have you been to Coney Island before?
I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me. I would like to tell you a story about Coney Island and why I'll never go back.
Okay.
I was there about 2 years ago, helping somebody out with some real estate issues. And I went in and I said, I'm going to have one of these world-renowned hot dogs in here. So I went there, and it was me and 40 of my closest friends. Nobody was there. And I sat down and I watched this lady, and she had all these little burger patties, man. It was like a table, like a 4x4 table filled with burger patties, like this big, man. And she literally went and grabbed just dirty tap water and just poured it all over top of all of them. And that was like how she was cooking them. And I said to myself, Coney Island, not coming back. No Coney Island, I'm out. I'm done.
How does that have to do with anything?
Because Mark was looking at an
How do you know
Airbnb.
dirty tap water is dirty?
Because it says it. Because if you go there, it's clearly labeled. There's 2 faucets. One of them says clean tap water. The other one says dirty. You went to the dirty one. How do you like that? Now you embarrassed yourself and your family. Schall.
A dirty tap water faucet.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got that going for ourselves.
So what do you guys have cooking for the rest of this month? It's March something, right? What is it, March 3rd?
Yep. Tomorrow's the most powerful day of the year.
We're coming into this busy, booming spring season where everybody's going to list their homes magically. And you're going to go from 35 properties in Mountaintop to 130 by the end of the month. How are you going to help your clients find the right property and buy it at the right price? Madden.
Buying at the right price in Mountaintop is not a thing that's happened in a couple of years. Due to the limited supply, the prices are extremely elevated, and I do not think it's sustainable. And I think people buying in the last year and a half or to 2 years will end up being in a negative equity market because of it. However, I will help my sellers by getting out there and getting the information that says every day they beat their competition in the market, they have a better chance of getting top dollar for their home.
He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
So how, with inventory this low, how are you competing on multiple offer situations? Because in our market, we're running into that pretty much every time we're writing an offer. You're competing with it.
Absolutely. I have a listing right now on Mount Top. We've got 25, close to 30 offers. The seller's in a different position, so he's waiting for the best offer, but it's only going to continue. I believe offers in Mountain Top this summer are going to start at and above full asking.
Yeah. Great for your sellers, for sure. Fortunately, the rates are low, so.
Well, that's why I think the buyers are more willing to offer these high amounts, because their offset cost is because of the lower interest rates.
Yeah. What kind of rental market do you have up there, Mountaintop?
According to the statistics, it's between like 8 and 10%. However, most things in Mountaintop rent very quickly. I did we'll call it a flip rental. It was a 4 rehab. I had 36 applicants in 24 hours last summer. And I shut it off after one day because I had more than enough capable tenants to choose from.
Yeah. I'm going through the same thing. I have a vacancy in Bloomsburg right now. Drug my feet on it, of course, and waited for my tenant to move out just because it's a hassle to show it while he's in there.
Yeah.
I have probably 50 messages just from one Facebook Marketplace post right now. So it's not a difficult thing to get an apartment rented here.
Yeah.
Are you seeing an increase in prices too?
It depends on the location, the parking situation, and quality of the apartment. But yeah, for the most part, Bloomsburg and Danville markets, rents I'd say have gone up from what I've been looking at. Berwick's been a steady rental market as well, especially for single family homes, pretty strong. So if you can find something in this market, Berwick, affordable that you can shine up pretty nice. Even a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, you can rent for probably $900 a month.
That's pretty impressive. Do you guys feel that there's a direct correlation with the lack of homes for sale and that inventory per se? And then it seems like the same thing's happening on the rental side, honestly. I have a lot of rentals in Weatherly, and honestly, I wish I have more. There's so many people that want to live and rent there, and Mountaintop's the same exact thing. And it's like, hey, is that a thing that's always been going on, or is it correlated with the actual home sales market? Discuss.
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
Without population going up, I don't understand how. I know, I understand what you're saying, is but they're both
right.
Going up, but without a growth in population, it's like, how,
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and it's funny, those two specific areas, Mountaintop, Weatherly, like, it's not like there's a huge population boom, but they're both like desirable areas where, I mean, people are trying to get there. So it's more like we'll call it maybe supply and demand. It's like a scarcity issue. Like there's like just not enough places for people that want to be there. And is that because these places are that great, or is because there's no other alternatives? Like I don't know. It's an interesting quandary.
So the question is, are we seeing an increase in rental demands along with the increase to purchase a home?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could say that, yeah.
I think there's a number of contributing factors. Number one, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think we're at a 900,000 new construction per year deficit over the last 10 years. So we have not been building new properties across the US. And now we're heading into a time period where millennials are becoming a buyer age, where they may make up 40% of the marketplace in certain areas.
Right.
They're trying to get out there to buy. There's nothing to buy, but developers are still putting up large apartment
Big
buildings.
mansions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's very interesting.
And they may be doing that just as an offset for their taxes. If you have a high wealth investor looking to capitalize on some depreciation, it's driving up that rental market.
Yeah, that would make sense. And the building, like, it just, there is a shortage there, and I would wager to guess, like, nationwide, it's probably coming from the fact that just materials have like skyrocketed. Like when you spec out everything that it takes to build something from ground up, and then look at, you know, reasonable profit margins, and it's like kind of what doesn't make sense. It's just not a savvy financial move.
Well, I'm going through this right now. There's a couple lots that I'm specking out, and because this market, the supply is so low right now, it does make sense because I'm looking at what homes are selling for in my market, and I think that I can put up a few ranch homes, 3 and 2s, spec them out and build them to needs one at a time, and make a pretty decent profit on them.
So that was always my question when I first got in real estate. It's like, you know, I never seen the recession in real estate when I was actually a realtor. But if you look at our market, most homes that sell are from 1,300 to 1,800 square feet. When did you ever see a new construction under 1,800 square feet? It's like
it doesn't. The cost benefit analysis isn't there. It's not much more money to make a 2,000, 2,400 square foot home than it is a 1,600 foot ranch.
True.
But the profit's much higher because they can sell it for more. So that's why they're building them. I also believe you're on a great point there, Mr. Schall, is I also think that's why flipping is such a big thing in our area right now, because that lack of high quality inventory in the 13 to 1,800 square foot range that isn't a fixer-upper is high. And that's why flipping is taking the place of new construction builds in that smaller size.
Yeah, you're 100% on with that. And then I think another factor of the increase is the huge publicity that there's tons of shows about fixing and flipping and all that kind of stuff, and people get in it, and it's a great thing to do, but a lot of the stuff that's portrayed in shows is not real. And
no, it's bullshit.
Fake news?
I've said
is it fake news?
It is fake news. So I mean, I remember years ago watching Property Brothers, and it was like, they have a budget of $300,000, and we're going to get this home for $200,000. That means they have $100,000 as a repair. Like, that is not real unless these people are paying cash, right? And then it's like, well, where did they come up with that budget to begin with? But it's like, there's one loan product that you can do that with, and it is extremely hard.
Yes.
So it's extremely hard to pull off, and many people won't qualify for it. So it's not a real thing, but that sensationalism about flipping is just out there, you know, and people want to do it.
There are ways to flip homes and make a nice profit on it. But what those shows have done is drive up the most important part of this is your purchase price.
Right.
If you're, you know, when people were profiting off of flipping, they were buying decent homes for $30,000, $40,000 cash or less. Now those $30,000 to $40,000 properties are going for $55,000, $65,000, $70,000, and now your margins went from $35,000 to $15,000, and that risk reward isn't worth it for me.
I think that's the biggest misconception is finding deals. I think the general public just thinks there's all these homes that you could just buy for dirt cheap and it's just plentiful. It's like,
There is, Chris.
I don't know how
There
anyone's
is.
flipping homes because I don't know where the hell they're finding the deals, man. I thought about doing it, and it's to find a profitable flip right now is tough.
I have some you might be interested. Chris guessed me after
You
this
do
call.
6 of them a year and make now it's impressive.
Chris Schall will talk after this is over. We'll give you some
Well,
hot
Luke,
tips.
you have some stuff going there, don't you?
Yeah, no, I have a couple flips going right now, and I think it's just a big misnomer that there's no deals there. Madden and I, we say it all the time. Like, there's deals just honestly still sitting on the MLS, but people don't take the time to completely analyze them, or they have things in their head like, oh, I'm not doing that area, or oh, I need to. The biggest thing we hear from people is like this idea of like, I need to hit a grand slam, right? Like I need to buy this home for 100, put in 50 and sell it for 300,000. Like, dude, no, like that might happen once in your life, but it's just like, that's not the norm. So I feel like that pulls people out. Before I forget, I wanted to circle back about your spec lots.
Yeah.
And just a thing that came to my head, I'm sure you thought about it, but like, yeah, we're in this market now and you're analyzing everything at the current moment, right? There's a shortage, things are going well. You know, you buy these spec lots, you get these homes, whatever, like even if this is a fast process, you're like 6, 7, 8 months away, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think I can
that'd be my concern with you.
Yeah.
You know?
One on market by May. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. The strategy there is more of a domino effect. In
Right.
order to do 5, I have to do the first one. Okay, so
Right.
the risk is all on the first one, and the
Mm-hmm.
spread isn't that scary. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm pretty well protected. I'm looking at my numbers and I'm saying, okay, worst case scenario is I build this house and I can't sell it for a profit. I either suck it up and eat it, or I have it built at a cost that I know I can rent and break even and build that equity.
There, right. So
Smart man.
you already have the exit strategy in place
Right.
for, I'm not, wagering my entire family's livelihood on, I need to flip this and it has to go right. It's like, oh no, I have a
Right.
plan for if shit hits the fan, I can rent it out and I can hold water for as long as that needs to take, and then I'm cool.
Right. I'm not
That's-
building
yeah, that-
high-end homes. I'm building 1,500 square foot ranch homes, low maintenance, targeting, boomers or first-time buyer in that price range.
Boomers.
Yeah,
Okay.
boomers.
That brings me to an interesting point I read in an article, is that even though we're in a shortage now, in the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to have a surplus, because even though millennials make up the biggest segment of buyers, there's not nearly as many millennials as there are boomers. And as the boomers move on out of houses into retirement communities in Florida and nursing homes and passing on, there's not enough millennials to take over their homes that they're leaving behind. So that's a long-term thing to be worried about, but it's something that we should be cognizant of now.
That's a very great point. It's something to be worried about and concerned about in terms of your business as a realtor.
Yeah.
But in
As
the
an investor,
concept,
that's exciting.
as an investor, that's exciting. And it's, dude, all these things keep coming to my head. So think about the multitude of, real estate agents that we know and hang out with, and that help people sell homes for years, decades, and they've never purchased a rental property themselves. It's like mind blowing. Like they have all the resources right in front of them. They'll help it. Yeah, they'll run around with an investor every weekend for months trying to find a $30,000 place where it's like, if you would have just done that yourself, you would have had like much more benefit. And I don't know why that is. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that. Like why don't we see more real estate agents basically, for lack of a better term right now, like putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought this up because, the whole point of this conversation here is to, talk to other realtors and kind of see where they're at, help them along, or maybe get some information from them. When I came into this industry as an agent, what I noticed right away is that the majority of other agents are treating this like a job instead of as a business.
Right.
And when you go into your daily routine, treating it like a job, you're not looking at bigger picture and other ways that you can grow and expand your business. So I think it's a mindset thing. That they're giving the advice, they're opening up the doors, they're writing the contracts, but they're not taking their own advice and seeing the potential there.
That's crazy.
Realtors aren't even consistent with their schedule, let alone investing in real estate. Seriously, I mean, that's the way I look at it. Not to bash realtors, but the majority aren't that put together, No, there's some very good realtors in our market and across the country, but the majority of them aren't that put together.
I think it's there's, like we always joke around here, you come up the Lehigh Tunnel and you're on the south side of it and it's 2020, and then you get through the Lehigh Tunnel and then it's 1996, right? So it's like a joke, but it's like, dude, so many parts of it are true. And I think just like the mindset and the teaching that's gone on about how to operate, it just like, it's changed so much, but people don't change with it. And it is kind of mind-boggling. Hey, Nespoli, is that a t-shirt or a mock turtleneck?
It's a mock t-shirt.
Can't even get a real t-shirt for the call. What a loser.
You've never seen a mock t-shirt?
No. Did they have them at the Salvation Army?
You just came through the tunnel. That's the problem here. You just came.
Oh.
It's 1996 and Luke Medico's beard.
You got me. I'm going to sit the next couple plays out.
What else you guys got this week? We've been on here for about an hour.
That was a fast hour.
Yeah.
What's happening? What do we got this week?
I think that, I learned a lot from you fools today, and I'm going to write all these down and, see what happens.
I'm going to think about doing 100 push-ups and not do any of them.
Yeah.
And what else? I'm traveling down to Westchester tomorrow. I'm actually excited about it. A little trip going to, I don't even know what it is. It's an investor thing with Dave Van Horn. He's a pretty established investor. He's like a bigger pockets guy. So I'm pumped about that. I'll be able to bring back some knowledge, hopefully some new stuff to share with you guys. And that's like my biggest excitement for the week, other than hanging out with you goons.
I did not know that you were a Penn State fan or alumni, Mr. Mark.
Yeah,
so I'm excited about Sparty kicking their ass in basketball tonight.
What time is that tip off? 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
And for the record, let's see up here. I did actually. Where'd we go? I graduated up there. There's a thing.
There's a diploma.
Yeah, a lot of my friends and family didn't believe that for the longest time because I was not that great at school. But I did actually do it.
Can you share with the 4 to 5 viewers that we will have?
Yeah.
What shade of
4, 5? Yeah, 5 viewers we'll have.
What shade of blue that is on your wall? Because
that
we want to
called
help.
Penn State blue.
Okay, so we want to help our home sellers.
Yeah.
That are maybe painting their house, getting it ready for, so they can know colors to not go with.
Yeah, I think it's actually midnight blue. I'd have to check on that.
Your eyes are midnight blue.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a better note than to end on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Midnight blue eyes. Let's wrap it up. Yo, wrap it up, B.
Hey, until the next time.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen.
See ya.
Peace out, y'all.